Welcome to the shop. Today, we're going to try retrofit these air shocks that don't fit this Delica onto this Delica. Today we have my buddy's L400 in the shop again. Last time we did a little bit of work on the front suspension, and today we're going to be concentrating on the rear suspension. Now this van has a 2.5-inch lift, and like a lot of Delicas, it's also semi-camperized, has roof racks, ladders, and all kinds of other things bolted onto it. Fairly common on the L400s. Problem is, once you start loading the back of these things up, and even though this one already has heavy-duty rear springs, is they start to get pretty sagged out in the back, or you end up with a reverse rig. So the back is sitting like this and the front's cranked all the way up. What we could do is we could drop the front end down, give it, more of a front rake like modern day pickup trucks and such have, and that way when the gear is put in the back, it sits level. But that involves lowering a lifted vehicle, and who wants to do that? So the solution is to put airbags in the back. Now, quite often, you'll put airbags into the coils, and originally that was the plan with this one as well. However, the rear shocks are getting very bouncy in this vehicle as well, so it's a great opportunity to do a little bit of an upgrade. That's where these guys come in. So they're a regular shock, but they've also got an airbag on them. And that means when the back of the vehicle is loaded up with 6 bikes and camping gear and the roof rack's all loaded, simply put a little bit of air into the shocks, and it's going to help take some of the weight and lift the back end back up again. The problem though, is this is the shock that's supposed to go into the back. And you can see it has a pin on the top and an eye on the bottom. The air shock has an eye on the bottom, but it's also got an eye on the top. So we're gonna have to find a way to actually make these fit in there. Now what I'm hoping is I picked up a set of these. They're eye to pin conversions. And hopefully, these are going to fit in the back without too much modification. But that remains to be seen. So, let's get to it and see how this goes. The wheel off, climbed underneath to have a look and see what we're working with here, and it looks like the one shock at some point in its life has been replaced. The other side, on the other hand, it's not looking so great. You can see it's pretty dirty. Doesn't look like it's been replaced in a while. And if we get to the top, well, it's not actually attached to anything at all. That would explain the bounciness in the back. But the problem we've got, that nut's welded on. So in order to even take this shock off, I'm gonna have to cut this nut off, and that means likely replacing this whole stud before we can go any further. Now that we've got the shock off, you can see what we're working with, and it looks like the threads have been completely removed from the end of the stud. So I don't think rethreading it's going to do anything. In fact, my die slides right over it anyway. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to cut the threaded portion right off. I'm going to cut the head off of this bolt, drill it out, slide the bolt in, weld it, and then try to grind it down smooth again. And hopefully that'll do it. Well, we got our threads welded in place now, so that should work. But we got another bit of a problem here. That insert is too small to fit over that stud. So I'm going to try press the insert out and see if we can just slide the bushing directly over top of the stud like it was from factory. And the answer is no. No, I can't press it out. That is the result. That rubber is supposed to still be in there. So now that I have completely destroyed these bushings, there's no going back and I need to find a new solution. And I think I might have, in the form of my 3D printer. So these are polyurethane, just like a lot of the aftermarket performance bushings that you can buy on the market, and they have been printed out of the same hardness of material. So in theory, it should work. And basically all we're gonna do now, and this is nice, I don't need to use a press, they just slip in, and that diameter should match what we have on the van. So we're gonna add some grease in here and get on with the install. I've got our upper shock hole drilled out to 5/8. It's very, very close from factory, but not quite. The threads catch, so drilling it out to that 5/8 made it just a little bit easier to slip this piece in. So our adapter is going to go in now, followed by a washer and a lock nut. All right, we've got both shocks in place, and all that's left is to run the Airlines. The air shocks use a very simple air fitting. It consists of a line, nut, that slides over, a small O-ring, slides over the line as well, and then your fitting itself. Slide the airline into the fitting, push the O-ring down, and tighten up the nut. That's all there is to it. The kit does come with these little clips to hold the airline in place. They just snap in like so. But that does involve drilling some holes in order to push the clip in place. For this job, we're just going to hold the airlines in place with some wire ties. With all of our airlines connected, the only thing left to do is to test it out. So let's have a look and see what we're sitting at right now. So with no air in the shocks, we're sitting at about 89 centimeters. And just by adding a little bit of air to the shocks, this brought us up to 93 centimeters in the back. Just remember, this isn't an answer to a lift. Putting in longer springs or even spring spacers would give you a permanent lift, but this is a way to at least level out your vehicle if you're loaded up in the back. If this was a project you enjoyed watching, please do hit that like and subscribe button. It does help me out, mainly in just giving me the motivation to keep on making these videos. But otherwise, until next time, have a good one.